Okay, awesome. So now let me go to my announcements. I do have them here. First things first, all the products that I'm using tonight, if they're carried in the store, and quite a few of them are, they are 10% off, and you'll find that under the tab marked Ustream Special. Also, next week, Robbie will be live. I'm not sure what she's working on, but knowing Robbie, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Um, Also, the kits go on pre-order on the 20th, which is next Tuesday. And, oh yeah, watch your emails because I think you've heard that there might be a sale going on, so keep an eye on your emails. Okay? So, welcome everyone. Once again, if you're just tuning in, I have no chat, so I can't see what you're saying. If you have a question, specifically something that Cindy or Aldo or any of the other ladies can't answer for you, someone can relay to me either through text or through social stream. I can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and pan down and we're going to get started. So bear with me because I do have a new video set up. Sorry guys, I know I'm kind of crooked here. I'm trying to straighten it out. Just trying to get used to everything set up. So this is what we're going to be working on tonight. It is a canvas. It is a layout on canvas. I hope you can see that. Okay, and what's different about this is the background. We're actually going to do a transfer technique tonight. This is something I've been wanting to work on for quite a while. And I did get a chance to play with it, so I'm going to show you how I did that. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to get some paints ready. And the reason I'm doing that first is because I want to minimize the amount of time that I actually have just blank white canvas on the desk, because that just causes glare and it makes it jumpy and everything else. So what I'm using tonight is 13 Arts matte paints, and I am using the matte lime, the matte pistachio, the matte turquoise, and we're going to put aside the black for now. Okay, and now that I have those, I can go ahead and get started. Now, I took my canvas, and what I'm using is the flat board. This is Artist Loft, that's Michael's. The only reason I'm using that particular one, let me fix that a little bit better, is because that's what I had on hand. Now you can use a regular canvas, and I will show you one thing though. If you use a regular canvas like this, you're going to need to put something underneath it so that you can actually scrape with it. Otherwise, it's just going to bend and you're not going to get the same technique. So once again, if you use this kind of canvas, you need to have something underneath it to give you stability. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and you're going to see my very, very fancy painting. I'm just going to slap some paint on. That's all I'm doing. Here, there, everywhere. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I might even be mixing some of the paints. I'm just going to use up everything I have, or as much of it as I can. And I chose these colors for a couple different reasons. One, it's because I have inks that coordinate. And two, I specifically chose these colors because I wanted to keep it in the same color family. You can obviously use any kind of colors that you want, but this gives you a more subtle background. And of course, if you mix your cool, which these are cooler colors, with your warms, then you're running into the possibility of having mud. So here's the fun part, and I'm going to move my phone, spritz some water on that, and now we're just going to slide that paint around. That's all we're going to do. Mix it, don't mix it, however you want. I might have a little too much of the aqua, but that's okay. You can leave some white space. That doesn't matter. And I forgot to grab a paper towel. And I'm just going to mop up some of the water. Just a little bit of it. Okay, and that's the beginnings of your canvas. Now I'm just going to set this aside for a minute. It's going to give it a chance to soak in. And while we're painting, we're going to go ahead and paint our die cut, which this is, I'm sure most of you know, this is the Tim Holtz Alterations, the weathered clock. Okay, I did die cut it. I got rid of all the little stuff, but I did want to keep this. So we're going to paint that as well, but this time we're going to go black. And I'm going to use a different paintbrush. And again, I'm using the matte. I like the look of the matte. And actually, you know what? I'm going to use my stencil because I like that better. It seems to give a better coverage. And I'm only painting it black because I am picking up the color in the background. And I'm not worried about the edges. That's not really going to show in what we're doing. I have to tell you, last night when my son was trying to help me get the chat working, I was on my channel and Ustream sends a message, and I didn't even think about it and looked up and all of a sudden realized that here I am talking to my son on the phone and I have 3 viewers. It was kind of funny and kind of scary. Barb, if you're out there, hi again. Alright, so put that aside. Now let me clean up my black paint because we don't want black paint on the white canvas right now. Now, one of the things you're definitely going to want to have for doing this technique is either some paper towels, baby wipes, or some kind of cloth. Okay? Where is it? I have one more thing to paint, and that is my picture. This is my daughter. This was her Halloween costume. I'll lift it up. I'm sure she'll be just so happy that I'm showing you. She was the nasty minion. I don't know. I've never seen the movie, and apparently I'm really missing out. But I'm going to go ahead and just edge it with white paint. Now, I know I could have left a white border on it, but I printed this on matte photo paper, and I don't like the look of that particular white edging. So I'm just going to put some paint on my finger, and I'm just going to run it along the edge. Just like that. I'm just going to do that on all 4 sides. And I don't worry too much about whether I make a mess on the edge or not. I usually do, so then I go back and make it messier on the other sides. And I'm going to set that aside to dry as well. Alright, another baby wipe, and see how much paint I'm using? Not very little, or not very much. Okay. We're going to bring back our canvas, and I'm just going to hit it with the heat gun real quick, just to make sure that everything is dry. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I did put a coat of gesso on before the show. Very light coat, and the only reason I did that is so that I could move the paint around. And I didn't do a very good job of it, but that doesn't matter because it's going to move a little bit more. So you can see that I've got some texture from using the paper towel on it, and I have streaks, and I have places where the paint is mixed really well, and places where it's not mixed so well. That doesn't matter. I'm almost there. Okay, I might have a few wet spots, but I think that'll be good. Alright, so what we're going to do to do this technique, what we're going to use is golden soft gel. Now you can use either the matte or the gloss. I'm using the gloss because that's what I have. Gel medium can be used for many different things, but it's very much a glue. Okay, and it will glue just about anything together, and it's, you know, a fairly thick consistency, and I have a dry piece right there, so let me get rid of that. And I need my palette knife. I really need to move that up. Okay, is that better? Yes. Alright, I'm just going to put some out because I'm going to wind up with paint on my brush, which I need to clean. Okay, guys. I know you can't wait to see the gorgeous paper I'm going to be using, right? Here we go. Newspaper. Newspaper ads. Any ads. Real estate papers. Anything that's that newspaper feel will work for this technique. Any ads. The actual real paper. I've got comics. I've got all kinds of stuff here. What won't work for this technique is the glossier ads. Okay, like even the Michaels one, you can tell how glossy it is. It's reflecting in the camera. That won't work. Can I refresh? Yes, I can do that. I think. It's going to stop and I'll go off air. Is that what you want me to do? Oh, no, that's not me. Never mind. My bad. I'm looking at Social Stream and trying to keep up, but I think I missed something somewhere. Okay, so yeah, that's what we're using, and I didn't even cut it. I just tore it into bits. Okay? So I'm just going to pick a piece, and I prefer not to have hard edges. I do have some, and I'll show you. You can see right here, there is a hard edge. I'm not too fond of that, but on this one here, it's a bit softer in detail, like around here. That's more like what I want. So if it's got a hard edge to it, I'm trying to tear it off. The other thing that you're going to need is something to scrape with. I have, this is a Ranger scraper. I don't even know what its original intention was for, but it works great for this technique. Old gift cards, old credit cards, anything like that will work. So this is what you're going to do. And get your paintbrush, and I'm just going to turn this way. And I'm just going to slap down some of the gel medium. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and go on this side. Doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to scrape it in there. Now you're going to find that you're going to have paint and gel medium come off. That's fine. Just wipe it off. That's going to help with the color in the background. Once you lift it, So you can see on this one here, it actually lifted the color. And I think maybe it's because it's not dry enough. So let's put something else on top of it. Let's go with this. Now you want to leave it down long enough so it will transfer the image, but not so long that it's going to glue it to the page. However, if it does glue it to the page, you can pretty much scrape it off. We'll do some red because reds seem to go very well. No, it's not the same way I did the OTP. Okay, well, you know what? I think my paint might still be wet because it's actually lifting off my paint instead of doing the transfer, and that's not a good thing. You know, I'm not going to be happy if this ain't working. Okay, let's try with this. Okay, it's transferring a little bit. I think that's what the problem is. I think my paint is not quite dry enough. Yeah. Alright. We're just going to keep going. I might have to put more layers on, but it's going to work regardless. And I'm making a mess. No. Alright guys, let me hit it with the heat tool. Okay, let's try this again. Alright, we'll do this one here. And okay, we're getting better. Some colors transfer better than others. Mostly you just get a shadow effect in the background. I really like that. And so yeah, you can use the back side of your paper as well. It really is still picking up all my paint. Hey, we might wind up with white. It really works, guys. I swear it works. Let's try red. Slightly better. So basically what I did is I just did this all over the canvas, and you know, you saw it, so you know it works. And I'm sure some of you are already wondering, can you do this on paper? Yes and no. It does work. It depends on what kind of paper you're doing it on. If you're doing it on scrapbook paper, then I would not gesso. Okay, that's getting better. And I'll show you, I do have a sample. I did do some samples because I wondered the same thing. I'm just going to keep turning and keep taking some. You can see I hope you can see that it's actually transferring. I even tried something I printed here at home on my printer. It's not a laser printer, it's just a regular paper. Alright, here's my scrap from this month's kit. On this side here, I used clear gesso. It actually stuck to my paper and ripped the scrapbook paper. On this side here, no gesso. Just a gel medium and the transfer. So it does work. Let me bring it up a little bit closer so you can see. Okay. I also did another sample. This is on watercolor paper. And I've got it upside down because I'm used to doing it the other way. With gesso, you can see the colors clearly. I use the exact same papers. Basically, you know, not the exact same piece, but from the same pieces, I cut pieces for both sides, and you can see that it just lifted. So there's a big difference. So with gesso on normal paper, without gesso on scrapbook paper, you do have to play with it. It does work. You just have to play with it. Okay? Alright, so let's keep going. And I'm going to do red again. It's coming. Can you see the color transferring through? Like I said, it's very faint, but it really makes for a nice background, and everybody's going to say, how did you do that? Alright, and I'm just basically just throwing away my papers. You can let them dry and use the back side. That's not a problem. Okay, this particular paper it's not liking, and I don't know if you can see this right here. It's stuck. Just scrape it off. Alright, so it doesn't like that paper, although it liked it last week. One of the things that I want to try and do is a transfer of pictures, and I know that's going to be slightly difficult to do, just for the simple reason that you can see how subtle the effect is. I would need something with a really high contrast. Okay, didn't like the blue. Let's go back to red. A little bit more. Sometimes you have to scrape it a little bit longer. Just depends on the actual paper. Alright, let me show you what we got so far. I hope you can see that. Can you see? There's red in here. Got a little bit of green in here. Definitely writing, even though you can't read it because it's backwards, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to do a little bit more right along here, and then we're going to call that part done. It's actually really that simple. Alright, let's try some yellow and see how that goes. Yellow and purple. There we go. There's an idea. Oh yeah, I like yellow. I'll lift it up, you'll see. Look at all the yellow right in there. You really like that color. So again, like I said, you need to play with it. It does work. Just make sure that, unlike me, you let your paint dry in between. Okay, and maybe one more right here. Let's see if I can find something bolder in there. in my mess of papers. Apparently, I thought I needed a lot of comics. One more. Okay. And somewhere in here, I have... Alright, this is something I printed on my printer at home. It's just a regular inkjet printer. And we're going to do that. And so I can show you that that works as well. It's faint. I think if you can see I used the backside for something else. Perhaps if I had just printed it, it might transfer a little bit better. But it does work. The lines are there. Right here. There's the lines. Can I do a little bit more right here? Let's do this here. And then I'm going to throw this scraper in the water because it's yucky. There we go. So what do you think? Pretty simple, right? I can't wait to try this with pictures. Alright, let me just move this aside and scrape some of this off because it's going to get in the way of everything we're doing. Okay, done with that. The last thing that you want to do is to go ahead and put a coat of the soft gel on top of it. And I'm using the soft gel because it is softer. There is a heavier gel or regular gel medium. I think it's too thick. I don't think you would like the effect of it. So before I do that, can you see all the color? Very faint, but it's there. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to put a coat. And that's just going to seal this in because I want to use inks on top of it. I really don't want to move the colors around, and I don't know how well, because I didn't test it, I don't know how well it would take to having more inks. That was a little bit too much. More inks on top of it, and whether it would move the transfer that we just did. Now, one of the things I should have mentioned as well is that you want to put the gel medium on your canvas, not on your paper, for the obvious reasons that if you put it on your paper, it will stick. Okay? So there we are. I'm going to put this aside, let it dry for a little bit, and get this out of the way, and get the papers out of the way, because we're done with that. Pretty easy, right? And I have glue and paint all over my hands. Yay! Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to get my little flowers ready. And I'm using the La La Land Cherry Blossom Flower Die that we got one of the kits. I want to say October, no, not October, maybe November kits. I'm not sure. But anyways, I die cut some of these. And put them out here. Let's see how many I need. I'm not using the middle. Where is that? There's 3 different flowers. I'm going to use the small and the large. Okay? So put that aside. I need 5 of each. And we'll do an extra one just in case. And I'm going to use, this is a paper flower shaper. This is from McGill. I know that there are different brands out there, okay, and it's got rounded end. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to, it's small, so I kind of have to hold it. I'm just going to go around in a circle, and that's going to start cupping the flower. Can you see that? Going the wrong way there. I hope you can see that. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do on the large blossoms. These are die cut from watercolor paper. I like the thickness of watercolor paper. It's not for everybody. You can do this out of cardstock. You can do this out of scrapbook paper. Whatever you choose. Okay. These flowers are so pretty. And if I had thought about it, I would have misted them, but I didn't. And what I'm actually working on is a mouse pad. It's an extra one that I had purchased. Okay, the small ones, I'm just going to hit it right in the middle and just push down. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I guess I die cut quite a few more than I needed. Okay, let me get rid of these here. And then we're just going to glue those together. I'm just trying to get the small stuff ready. Glue. Brand new bottle of glue. Fabri-Tac. My favorite. And I'm just going to glue them together, the small on top of the big. And I'm just going to offset. And then just going to push it down. And I got a little bit of extra glue on that one. Oh, I did forget one thing we need to paint. Oh, I got extra glue on that one too. Come on now. Play nice. Alright. I think I kind of ruined that one. Too much glue. Let's try less. I think it's because I have glue on my hands too. Okay. Come on now. Alright, I'm just putting them aside so they can dry. Okay, done with that. That was easy, wasn't it? Alright. I have a couple sticks. You can't see them very well on this layout, but they are there. And I just found that the color just really didn't do anything for it. So we're going to paint them. So I'm going to go back to my 13 Arts paint, and I'm going to go to the black. And I don't need too much, although I probably need more than that, but we'll see. And I'm going to hit it with water. Use my paintbrush, mix it up. I want it watered down so I can I'm actually making a wash. That's what I'm doing. Okay? And this particular one does have like little stems. And that's okay. It doesn't matter what kind of stick it is. This, believe it or not, comes from Germany. My daughter and her husband are stationed over there. And this was something she found and sent to me. And what am I going to do with it? Paint it. Use it in a project. Wipe off the excess of the wash. And there's a difference in color. This is definitely going to stand out more. Let's do the other one real quick. Okay, just so you know, I am watching on the social stream just in case. I'm really hoping that by the time I come back on again, we will have this figured out so I can chat with you guys. Alright. And that's it. Let me throw that away. And let me wipe this up a little bit. Probably should wipe some of that paint off my hands before I bring back the canvas. And the next thing we're going to do is some stamping. Okay. Okay, it's not quite dry, so I'm going to hit it with the heat gun a little bit. One of the things about the gel that you'll find is that even if it's dry, it kind of stays tacky. And it seems to stay that way until it like cures. I'm not exactly sure how long it takes to cure. I know that when I did the last one, I finished the whole project and it was still a little bit tacky. So don't be surprised if it's tacky. And that could be because I'm using the gloss as opposed to the matte. Okay, just in case you're wondering, the reason that I'm got my canvas up on the jars is because I don't want to ruin my cutting mat underneath. I've done this before and have ruined it completely. This does need to be fairly dry before we move on. And I think that's pretty good. Okay, so it is tacky. My hands are sticking to it. Let me move my flowers and the glue. Okay, so the next part we're going to do is we're going to stamp. I've got archival inks because these match, or they don't match, but they coordinate, I guess I should say. I have the Wendy Vecchi Forget-Me-Not, the Hydrangea, and the Leaf Green. Really pretty colors. These are permanent inks, and that's what we want. I don't know how well like distress inks or anything like that would work, but the permanent inks will work very well. Okay, so the stamps I'm using is from 7 Dot Studio. Let me put this back on top. Is called Triangula. It's gorgeous. This matches their I think it's called Destination Unknown paper line. Gorgeous papers like these colors. Oh, awesome. Alright, so I'm going to use a couple different stamps here. Actually, you know what? I need to stencil first before I stamp. So we're going to put the stamp aside and we're going to pull out the stencils. Sorry about that. The first one I'm going to use is, this is Crafter's Workshop. This is Mini Specimens. This also came in a past kit. This is gorgeous. Alright, I'm going to use the Forget-Me-Not. And I've got good old makeup sponges. Just going to bend it in half just so I can hang on to it. Okay, and figure out my placement. Oh. So I'm going to use this one here. And I'm just going to rub through. That's all I'm going to do. Alright, I'm going to do a few circles here and there. I'm pushing too hard. I'm getting sponge stuff all over. Once we're done with all the stamping and the stenciling, because I'm using the same inks, we're going to heat set it again just to push the ink into the background. Alright, right now I am going on to different parts of the stencil, just putting them here and there. Alright, I think the only piece I didn't use off of here is the butterflies, even though they're gorgeous. Mostly because it would be getting lost. Alright, a little bit more of that one, and so that takes care of that particular stencil. I'm going to put that aside. Oh, and by the way, clean this with your, don't waste your blending solution, just use alcohol ink, it will come off. Alright, next stencil that we're going to use is, this is a Prima stencil. I think it's called Stonewall. I think that's what it's called. And I'm going to change inks. So that means I'm going to change sponges. I'm going to go with the bamboo leaf. And again, I'm just going to hit it here and there. Wherever I think it needs it. There's really no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting it. Sorry, my computer's going to sleep. I need to wake it up. I'm just making sure that I'm hitting pretty much every spot where I actually put ink down. And that's that. And I'll lift it up so you can see it better. I know it's a light color, so you're getting glare. Okay. Moving on, one more stencil. This is Crafter's Workshop as well. This is mini numerals, and you can tell that I didn't clean this particular one, but I will clean it after the show. And for this one, I am going to use the Ranger Archival Jet Black. So, like I said, as long as you're using a permanent ink, it doesn't matter which brand it is. I happen to like the Archival. I do own some StazOn, but not that many colors. And since I'm trying to stay kind of in the same color family, I just happen to have these inks and those paints, and it worked out perfect. So I'm just gonna, once again, hit here and there, move my stencil around. I think I'm gonna move this one up a little bit. Okay, and you can turn it around if you want. Doesn't matter. I'm kind of going in a diagonal line because I know that my picture is going to be right about here. And you can go as light, as dark as you want. I mean, if I really push, I can get darker spots, and if I just kind of just hit it, I'm getting lighter spots. Can you hear it? It sounds like it's ripping off the canvas. That's because the gel medium is tacky still. And I'm just going to hit a couple extra spots here and there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Oh, before I finish, I did go around the edge with my sponge. And I'm just going to hit it just lightly, and I just messed up that corner, but that's okay. I can live with it. just seems to bring your project to life when you hit it with the dark ink on the edge. And I just did it again. That's because I'm doing this in a hurry. Okay. And that's that. Now we can dig out the stamps. Now we're, oh, here it is. And I'm going to use a couple different colors for the main image, which is the compass. I'm going to stick with the black. And I'm using my fingers. I do have a block, but it's sticking to my fingers, so that works out really good. And I'm just going to hit it, and again, it's not going to be perfect. I'm going to go back over where I did the stenciling, and again, I don't care if it's perfect or not. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to take out the hydrangea, and I'm going to use this one here, show you on there, which is like an arrow with another compass. And I just want the middle. And again, here and there, that's all I'm going to do. Not perfect. Okay. Alright, now I do need my block because I don't think I could stamp this straight. So there's a little mileage. You can see it better if I do that. Mileage, I forget what you call that, but so I'm going to try and somewhat line that up straight because I want to do two corners, opposing corners. I'm going to go back to my black ink and try and keep it right side out. And I'm just going to stamp in the corner. And again here, and I'm kind of offsetting it. I don't want it the same size. So I have this side is shorter than that side. Okay, I think that's actually it for all the stamping as well. So, where's my jars? I am going to heat it, and you'll see it's not going to really lighten the color, but it's going to push it back into the background, like into that gel medium, as opposed to it staying on top of the project and being, if I touch it, then I end up smearing it. I don't want to do that. So just keep setting a little bit. I'm watching the time and it's like, oh my gosh, running out of time. Alright. This is going to have to be real quick. Okay, so now my stick should be dry. I know my clock is dry, so I got to figure out where I'm going to put it, and I'm going to figure that out based on my picture, which is probably going to be, don't want to hide all of the inking. Alright, like that. So I'm going to start by gluing this, the inside piece. I do want the inside piece because it adds the stability. Can you hear it ripping off the canvas? I'm just going to hit this a little bit with glue. Alright, which way? And we got glue on it, and it's not going to show at all because that's all going to be hidden. Alright, so now I want to figure out how I want to put my sticks. Basically, something like that. Do I want it like this? No. I want it like that. Alright, I need to break this off. So I'm going to glue that on. And that's all you really need to hold it on there. Is just the glue. Stay. Alright, and I already cut my chipboard or cardboard flying unicorn boxes. Save your boxes. I have 2 pieces, but I need to see how I need to cut it here. Alright, and I just made that. I think that will work. Glue the 2 pieces together. I just want it taller than, so it stays on top of the stick. That's all I want. Okay, and normally I would not put glue on the back of my picture, but because we're in a hurry, I will do that. And I've used it before. I don't like it because I find it leaves lines on my picture, and I'm not fond of that. But maybe it won't do it this time. Alright, moving on. Flowers. Alright, these are Prima Sopranos. These are aqua. I love these flowers. And I also have the Petaloo. These are the Botanica blooms. These are probably my all-time favorite flowers. And you can see that I use the other ones on the other. This color is pistachio. I'm going to take just the flowers. I'm not using the leaves. Put that aside. And I kind of want the darker one underneath the picture somewhat. And I want the other one kind of somewhat over there. I'm just going to play with placement before I start gluing, because and these here are just so gorgeous. Look at that color. They're really, really vibrant color. I need 5 if I can pull them apart. Okay. One more. Okay, now you can leave the stems on if you want. That's up to you. I have one on this one here, which I will leave. I'm going to put it up here somewhere. Stick. And I think I will cut the rest of them off. I kind of like the look of the stems being on there. And all I did was I just twirled that around a skewer. Or actually, I think it was a dowel. Okay, so I'm going to put one in here. And I am going to just kind of fluff them out a little bit. I'm going to put one there. So I'm hiding the end of that one stick. And then I do want one somewhere in here. And maybe like that. I don't want this one there. Something like this. No, don't like that. Alright, let's glue. I can sit here and overthink where I'm putting the flowers, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm just pushing it underneath there. And if you find that you're doing something like this and it doesn't want to fit, cut it. I do want to leave some space in the middle here. I have the butterfly. put on. Ah, just got glue everywhere. It's okay, it'll come off. I do have a towel on my lap, by the way. I'm not wiping on myself. In case you can see that, I keep moving my hand. Stay there. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay. I have a Flying Unicorn metal adornment, and I only have had 2 of this particular one. These are so gorgeous. Make flowers with these. But since I only had 2, I kind of had to limit myself. So I cut it in half. That's it. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift the sides up, just so I have a gluing surface right here. I hope you can see that. Alright. And wow, that glue is coming out fast. Just going to push it underneath. And yeah. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Just going to push and lift the petals. Push that underneath. And I just realized that I forgot the thread underneath the big green flowers. That's okay. We're not going to worry about that. Alright, I have a butterfly that I die cut. I actually die cut this out of grunge paper. Not the grunge board, the paper, the thin stuff. You can see how thin that is. And this is memory. Sorry, I keep turning things around because I'm used to doing it the other way. This is Memory Box Swirl Butterfly. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, and what I'm going to do, and attempt not to make a mess, is I have a little teeny tiny arrow that is one of the Flying Unicorn metal adornments as well. And I'm going to attempt to glue that to the middle of his body. But first I'm going to wipe off my glue. Normally I would use the glossy accents, but I think I might be able to make it work. And just take off a whole bunch of it. Okay, so I do have glue on there. And I'm just going to glue it so the arrow is facing up. That's it, right in the middle. Okay. And we're going to glue that to the branch. And again, too much glue. Just right about in there. Oh, it's stuck to my finger. Stay. And then we're going to glue in our little white flowers. And again, I'm going to try not to overthink this too much. Now you could put a pearl or a little rhinestone in the center of the flower. I kind of liked it the way it was. But you can do whatever you like. It's your canvas, your flowers. Stay. Thank you. Alright, I have one more. And then we only have one thing left to do, and we are done. Okay. Alright, I have another stencil, and sorry if this bothers you, but I cut my stencil. This is the 13 Arts stencil that came in December kit, I believe it was. It's from the Cozy Evening collection. I'm going to use this here. this side. The reason I had cut it, by the way, is because I needed to get the words into a spot that I couldn't get into because it was an afterthought. Anyways, I'm going to use light molding paste. Sorry, going backwards again. The reason I'm using that is because light molding paste dries white, or dries opaque is more like what I should say. Okay, so I'm just going to hit it here and there. Not really paying much attention to where I'm doing it, and you can't see it very well because it's not dark, but once, whoops, I'm moving some, see, that wasn't a dry spot. Can you see that? I have gray on my molding paste because I hit a spot that wasn't dry on the ink. Okay, so I'm going to do one more pass. I'm going to try not to hit the part where it has the ink. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to throw that in the water. And Prima resin. This, again, is another, they come in the little trays. I forget what they're called. They are Prima resins, okay? And I just happen to like that. That's a cute little banner. It says memories on it. So that's the last thing we have left to put on. And I'm just going to kind of somewhat put it underneath that flower. And that's it, you guys. That's it. Can you see all the color coming through from the transfer? So you get all these cool effects. Just if you're going to do it, let your paint dry better than I did. So I hope you enjoyed this. I had a great time figuring this out for you. So that's my project for tonight. So once again, I got a few more announcements. So I'm going to turn the camera back towards me. Bear with me. I always have to think about which way I'm going. I think that's right. Yay, I'm not upside down. Yay. Oops, there goes the cord. Okay. Alright, so a couple announcements if you missed them earlier. The items that I've used on my project, the ones that are in the store, 10% off. When you go to the store page, click on Ustream Specials. Those items will be in there. Next Tuesday, which is the 20th, is when the pre-orders will be coming out. So you have, I think it's 48 hours to pre-order your kit. Also next week will be Robbie. I can't wait to see what she does. She always does some amazing things. So I will definitely be here to see that. And also make sure that you check your emails because I hear that there's a big sale coming up this weekend. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and watching the show. I hope you enjoyed the project, and I will see you next time. Good night.